Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 13 of Quarter Life Questions. My name is Gino and this is a solo podcast where I just talk about things that are going on in the life of a 26-year-old. So, one thing that I'm dealing with at the moment, which is a very new thing for me, and it may not be that relatable to people in Ireland. So, when you're in Ireland, you're trying to choose where you want to live. For example, I lived in Cork for a long time, and you're trying to choose where you want to live. You kind of have areas you can pick from, but you kind of take whatever you get as well because it's so hard to get things. Whereas now, here in Dubai, I have to choose where I want to live, and I'm going to be signing a year contract somewhere. And there's things you have to consider, that especially over here. So the three categories I've considered is price, obviously, distance to where I need to be. So for me, I have two main locations. I have an office, and I have Dubai Creek Harbour, which is the area where I specialise in for work. And they're not particularly close to each other. They're about a half an hour from each other. So I'm trying to get somewhere in between. So I need to consider price, distance to work or distance to creek, and then also like amenities and that the property's nice, obviously, and stuff like that. So there's a few options. So I'm trying to decide at the moment. I can live in somewhere like Business Bay or downtown, which is quite a built-up area, and it's already quite developed, and I could pay, let's say, 70 or 80,000 dirhams or 90,000 dirhams for the year for a property there, and it'd be a nice property. Probably wouldn't be brand new, but it'd be nice, and it'd be in a built-up, busy area. So it'll have the amenities, it will have the distance, but it doesn't really have the price because it's kind of expensive. Where I can also live in an area then like near Soba Heartlands, which would be about 10 minutes from downtown, about 15 minutes from Creek, and about 20 minutes to work, which is not bad either. And the price would be nearly half of that. It'd be like between 40 and 50k a year, dirhams. But there's no amenities because it's a brand new area. Now, on the other side of that, eventually it will be quite a nice area, and they're designing it. So it's called Azizi Riviera. So they're designing it off the French Riviera. So they're going to have a nice like water going through it and stuff like that. But at the moment, none of that's there. So it's a bit of a construction site. But I can get a brand new property there, for half the price, and it's only about 10 minutes away from the other one. So it's kind of a dilemma I'm fighting with at the moment. Now I know it sounds like I've already answered the question, and I kind of probably have, but it's just something I hadn't come across before, a decision I hadn't had to make, and something I hadn't had to think about is where do I want to live, basically, because as I said, in Ireland, for me anyway, where I've lived was Cork and Clonmel, and when I lived in Cork, it was like, okay, I kind of want to be somewhere around these areas, what can I get? And then in Clonmel, it is what it is. But here I really have an option. I can technically live anywhere that I'm able to afford, you know what I mean? Obviously I can't live on like the Palm or something like that, but anything I have enough money for, I can get, you know what I mean? So it's very easy to get somewhere to rent here for the most part, especially if you're open to areas. But obviously I can't be open to just any area because I want it to be location wise. Obviously it's quite important. So for me, I think price and location, and I'm going to scrap the amenities. Sorry, that's where I was getting with it, because like for amenities, like, if I really want to go somewhere, I can go somewhere and do it in a car. I can order food, I can order shopping. If I'm not near things, it's not the end of the world. There'll still be a gym in the building, there'll still be a pool in the building. And the only other thing is, because it's such a new area, there won't be a lot of people living there, and that's something I don't like. I kind of like that there's a bit of a community around the place, but there wouldn't be there, but there will be eventually. So anyway, that's basically one thing I'm thinking about, one new thing I've had to deal with. And I'd be interested to hear people who move to other countries. Do you have kind of similar things? There are areas you want to live in but maybe you can't afford to live in, and you have to settle for something else? Or what do you do? What way does it work? I think in like Canada specifically anyway, that you do a lot of like house sharing, and where there might be like 5 or 6 in a house. That doesn't really go on as much here. It's a lot of 1 beds, a lot of studio apartments, maybe 2 beds. But the problem then with 2 beds and 3 beds, like for example, we were talking about it with me and some of my friends from work, and we all obviously have the same office, but we all have very different areas in regards to where we work and where we sell and where we do viewings. So for me, I'm on one side, I'm like in kind of up near the airport, and then one of them is in Marina, and he's obviously that's the complete opposite side of the city. So there's nowhere that's like a good place to split that. So it will probably be somewhere on my own. No, I don't mind that. I've been quite enjoying living on my own since I got here. It's quite a sociable life here. So like work is very sociable, talking to people all the time, viewings, and then obviously doing things with your friends and meeting people and going out and stuff like that. So it's nice to have your own place to come home to and just relax, and all your own stuff is here. And then yeah, so I thought before I moved here, I actually thought it would be an issue living on my own, but it was actually one of the better things I did. So yeah, that's something worth thinking about. And the other thing I was going to talk about was, over here you're so surrounded by wealth, and I was thinking about this today. Now don't get me wrong, you're surrounded by not wealth also, but I'm just going to talk about wealth. I'd like to hear from you, does it motivate you if you see someone, let's say in a Ferrari or with an expensive car, or with something you want, like an expensive house, expensive life, doing something that you want? Does that motivate you? Does it piss you off? Does it piss you off in a good way that you get motivated, or does it piss you off that it like demotivates you, makes you feel like you're not doing enough? See, you can split that both ways, because it depends how you use the energy. So for example, with me, when I see someone with like a watch I want, or a car I want, or a life I want, or a house I want, I get angry. I get real annoyed by it, but it drives me, it pushes me forward, it makes me want to go work. It could be the case of like, sometimes, I was leaving the office and I might not be like working as hard as I should be, and I go to the shop and then some guy passed me in a Ferrari, or I see some watch and I'm like, oh, you go back and I'm working harder. But does it demotivate some people? Would it annoy you? Would it make you feel like, oh, I'm so far away from that, I'll never be able to achieve it? Or do you even think about it at all? It wasn't something I thought about that much really back in Ireland. It's more so here, because I literally, every time I leave the house I see an expensive watch, or a Ferrari, or a Lambo, or a Bugatti, or whatever it might be, or just even an activity or a dinner I can't afford to do or go to yet. But it drives me, and I find it really motivating, and I find it like a really enjoyable thing to do. And what I also really like is like seeing other people that are doing way better than me, and that's something I really like about the company I'm working in. Sometimes when you're working a job and you're looking at the people that are ahead of you in the job, if you don't want to be like the person who's ahead of you in your job, you're in the wrong job. And that's something I've learned. So when I'm looking like at people that are when I'm looking at people that are doing really well in my industry that I've started in the company I started in specifically, but also outside the company, because I follow other brokers on Instagram. When I see them, I find it really motivating. Like, I want to be like that guy. I want to be able to do that. And I've had jobs in the past where I didn't look at the people that were like senior to me or ahead of me or doing better than me, thinking, oh, I want to be like them. So if you're in that position, you need to really reevaluate what you're doing and just think about it a little bit. Think about, if I am not motivated to be like the person who I'm on the road to be, then what am I doing? Why am I in this path? And it's just something. These are a few of the things I've been kind of thinking about recently. I'm not sure how relatable they are. I'd actually love to hear from someone to tell me what they think of these things, if I'm the only person who thinks like this, or if they think similarly, or if they have any other opinions on it. But yeah, so it'd be interesting to see what you think. Also then I want to discuss goals. So I've been trying to come up with goals for next year. So usually every year I'm really good at writing out goals for January and hitting them for the most part, or getting close to them anyway. But my goals were always very trivial, like, continue to train, make more money than last year, make sure you're still doing this, make sure you're doing that. But I wanted to change it up a little bit, so I wanted to try come up with some sort of route or some sort of plan. I feel like a plan of how to do things, and having kind of bigger goals and a plan set out would be a nice way to go about it. But I'd love to know if anyone's done that, or if anyone has any experience with kind of planning out long periods. It can be quite difficult. Like, for example, in January last year, I had no idea I was going to end up in Dubai this year. Do you know what I mean? So like, obviously that would have thrown every plan out of the thing. So maybe it's not feasible to plan ahead like that. One thing I'm trying to sort out at the moment as well. So I'm going home for Christmas. I'm going home on Christmas Eve for about 10 days, and then obviously I'll be back here for work in January, and it'll be my first full year in real estate. So I've had, obviously a very late start in October. I had training week in October, and then kind of just starting off, and then I started in November, which is this month, made my first few sales, or first few rentals or whatever. I'm off to a good start. I'm over 200% above my target for November. I really wanted to get like 500% above it. Obviously there's still time, but we'll see how that goes. I'm going to keep pushing for it. And then December is a short month, obviously, going home on the 24th, and we close for 2 weeks, so I don't really know what to expect for December. But what I'm trying to do is have everything sorted, trying to spend December getting everything sorted so I can really start in January. So I'm trying to find a permanent residency. So I should have my my Emirates ID this week, I think, which will give me residency here, and I'll be able to rent a property long term. So I want to try and get a rental property here for a year in December, so that when I come in January I have a furnished rental property ready to go. All my stuff's here, all my suits are here, everything's here ready to go. I'm going to change my car up. Just I'm not getting a more expensive car, but I've actually just found a place where I can get a better car for the same price, so I'm going to change that up as well. And I want to really kickstart the year, with no distractions, no settling in. I'm settled in here now, do you know what I mean? I want to just be able to start working hard and push on and do the absolute best year I can next year, and try really impress my company and whoever, and then try hopefully move on into sales as quickly as I can, really, because even though I'm enjoying the rentals, the end goal is to be a real estate agent in sales, not in rentals. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously there's a lot of work to be done there. I also really want to push forward on social media. So I'm trying to build more of a brand on social media. So me and Sam obviously have this channel going quite a long time. I don't even know how long now, and it's been very slow. I've been inconsistent. Sam's been a lot more consistent than me. It's tough. YouTube's a tough game. The views don't obviously come that easy. The subscribers don't come that easy. We're very close to 800 subscribers. It may even be over this by the time this video comes out. If you please subscribe, we really appreciate it. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's a long way to go. 200 subscribers doesn't sound like a lot, but it is to get, considering it took us nearly 3 years to get 800. But yeah, I really want to hit that. TikTok, then I'm trying to hit over 5,000 on TikTok before the end of the year. My TikToks have been going kind of up and down there. I'm being consistent with them, but the views aren't particularly consistent. I'm trying to get 5,000 followers on there, and then I had a goal on Instagram to get 2,000 followers, which I've just hit. I sound like I'm like some weirdo obsessing over social media, and it's just, I believe, and I've been talking to friends about this, and I've been talking to people about this, I believe it would not to make it, but it makes it a lot easier to do something when you have a strong social media presence. And it's not that it's tough. It's not tough to do, but being consistent is the hard part, because you obviously have to be consistent and be creative. And I'm not particularly creative. You can see, like, with these videos, like, my editing is minimal. My camera work is done on an iPhone, and I've got like a stuck together stand. But like, creativity wise, I struggle with it, but what I don't struggle with is talking. And so I do all these videos off the cuff, and I do my TikToks off the cuff, and everything off the cuff kind of works for me. And I'm just trying to give as much advice as I can. And the whole point of the videos originally were, I like to be able to help people in a way, but I'm a terrible teacher, and I'm terrible at like just sitting down one-on-one with a person and showing them how to do it. But if I have a video about something and I can talk about something, especially something I've an experience with, like I've got 6 or 7 years experience with car sales. I know I've experienced, I'm starting to get experience in real estate. I've experience in buying real estate. I've experience as a landlord. I've experience with opening businesses, closing businesses, failing businesses. I've talked to lots of people. I've experience in travel. I've experience now in moving countries. So I want to be able to share all that with people. But I find if I can get 20, 30 to 100 views, whatever it might be on this video, and then teach 4 or 5 people, I'd find that a lot easier than actually sitting down with one person and just telling them. So I'm just trying to build that up. And then also here, I've noticed a difference since I was making the TikToks. Since I've started making the TikToks, I've noticed a difference here, especially in Ireland, not so much. But since I've gotten here, I've bumped into a lot of people, and fair enough, they're not particularly clients, they're people in the same industry as me, but they actually know me already. And when I meet them, and they don't recognize, I'm not like recognized, but my name is kind of Gino. It's like it's a memorable name, I guess. There's not a lot of Ginos around. So it's happened to me a few times now where I start talking to people, and then I say I'm Gino, and we're talking about whatever, and then they kind of cop, they're like, oh, I think I've seen one of your TikToks. And that alone makes it worth it, and I know it's the right thing to do, because soon, eventually, right now it's real estate agents, other real estate agents recognize me, but soon it will be clients, soon it will be, you know, other landlords, and then eventually I hope when I'm in sales, I'll almost have a name as like Gino, the guy who works in this area in Dubai and sells these properties, and I'll hopefully be someone you want to work with. That's the end goal with it, really. And then I just think having that social media presence will make that, to make the sales come, it'll be a nice sales funnel, make things a little bit easier to do. But we'll see. But it's definitely worth trying, and you know, the effort involved in YouTube is a little bit stronger, but we're going to keep it going. But the effort in TikTok's a little bit easier, but you just have to be more consistent and a little bit more creative. And then you have to deal with all the shit, like a lot of people just like anonymous accounts giving me grief or whatever, but I don't really care about any of that. And there was one or two I've had to block because of the stuff they were writing was nasty, not particularly about me, just even about people, like just about people in general. Some of the stuff was kind of fucked up they were writing, so I did block them. But the people like slagging me over the being short or whatever, I leave them, because it's just the comments work in, and then the more comments, the more views it gets, so it just works out fine for me. But yeah, so that's a little talk about my plans for social media, my plans for living, and oh yeah, one other thing I wanted to talk about. Irish people, us, we say things to each other, and we don't think about what we're saying, really. So for example, the "Hey, how are you?" So you pass someone on the street, "Hey, how are you?" "Well, how are you?" And they're like, "Oh, well, how are you?" And that's it. No one answers how they are. I'm constantly getting told how people are over here, because I pass someone, whether it's someone I work with, someone I don't even know, someone, one of the security guys, whatever it is, and I pass like, "Hey, how are you?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm good, yeah, how are you?" And I'm like, now all of a sudden I'm in a conversation with someone about how they are, when that's not what I meant to do at all. So I'm trying to stop that. And I've also noticed, like, I don't know, do we just talk to strangers more than other cultures do? And even compared to like you know, UK people, I feel like I just talk to people on the street more often. Like, apologize, people don't apologize as much when they're like I literally not even in someone's way, and I'm like, "Oh, sorry," moving out of their way, and I'm getting like looks, and people are even like, yeah, I don't know, is it a thing for other people that have moved abroad? Is it a thing you have to work on, where you just literally have to say less to people? Because it's just, in Ireland, I don't know, do we all just ignore each other? We're just saying random shit to each other walking down the street and don't acknowledge it, but we both are saying it. I don't know, it's strange. That's something else I have to work on, just asking people how they are less. I need a new thing to say, because hello or hi or hey isn't enough coming out of my mouth, because I say too many words. But how are you isn't working, because I'm stopping having these conversations with people all the time that I don't need to have. So I need to find something new to say there. But yeah, anyway, if you've gotten this far, that was a rambly episode. So if you've gotten this far, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Subscribe, please. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers would be really great. Please like the video as well, because when you like this video, it pushes out the algorithm, and it gets us other recommendations on YouTube, which is really great, and they help us a lot. So comment down below, which you never do, but you might do this time. Like, subscribe, whatever it might be. Check out Instagram, TikTok, whatever you like. Just Gino Forte, type it into anything, I should come up. There's not many of us out there. And yeah, stay safe, God bless, bye bye.